Welcome to video number 2, the ISR rules. We will shortly look into the ISR means that High Headquarters will support the brigade with, and then we'll go into more detail with the brigade's own ISR means. Starting out with the satellite sweep, using optics, radar, and EW, our satellites can detect enemy activity in a 50 times 50 square kilometer area. In order to see companies and above, you roll a 5 with your die, and if you roll a 5 or 6, all companies on above will be revealed and put on the map in that specific area. Cyber exploitation is the detection of enemy use of social media and other internet-related means where we can locate approximate position of battalions and above. You roll a 4 and above, that's 4, 5, 6. To reveal battalions in a 100 times 100 square kilometer area, and in this case you will not put unit markers but big battalion markers on the map. If you roll a 6, you will reveal specific division and brigade headquarters positions, and those will also be put on the map. Aerial observation is your F-35s or other airplanes with different ISR parts on it. Using optics, EW, radar, etc. They will detect battalions in a 25 times 25 square kilometer area. You have to roll a 4 and above to reveal battalions, and you will put the large markers on. We will now go into more detail on the maps, discussing recce units, OPs, UAS, EW, radar, and unmanned ground sensors. Right, this is our battle map. In this case, we've taken the Battle of Elbląg map. Just to orient ourselves, we have a Russian battalion defending the town of Elbląg. The town is the highlighted area in here. We have a Blue Force brigade attacking in a eastern direction. Just to orient ourselves on the map, we have big yellow roads going here, and we have smaller white ones also on the map. And we have a few bridges placed also. We have some forest and wooded areas here behind Elbląg town, and a great big lake going in here. We also have Elbląg Canal coming this way in, and a rather large river going this way. Right, recce units. Recce units is the eyes and ears of any unit, and in this case the brigade recce force are these 3 recce platoons. Blue brigade will use whatever vehicles and means that particular unit is equipped with. In this case, it's the Eagle 5 scout vehicles of the Danish army. Should it be a Russian one, it would be a BMP variant of some sort. A recce platoon like this one can either detect when a unit comes into its area, or the recce platoon moves into contact with the enemy. In general, there are some specific rules guiding recce units, and that is that they, as opposed to any other units, will be able to disengage when in contact with the enemy. And we'll run through that in a second. We'll take an example. This recce platoon wants to go in and have a closer look at the bridge that is underneath this minefield right here. Of course, he does not know there's a minefield. He only knows there's a bridge. So he'll move in and he'll be using the roads. So in this case, he's got a wheeled vehicle. He can move 6 movement points, and on roads, that's 1 movement point per hex. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's moved 6 kilometers. We choose not to take too much considerations into the rivers that we can see here. You could choose to do that in a game if that is suitable for the game. So in this case, the recce unit is moving into contact of a enemy EW platoon who is positioned in Elbląg town. So just very quickly going back to the rules, this area over here, we can see that when you are in a build-up area, you will get a +1 to detection, which means that you will be harder to spot. So in this case, the moving part is the aggressor as such. We are now just finding out whether they're seeing each other. So the aggressive part, in this case the reconnaissance platoon, is rolling a die. as he rolls a 5, and the EW platoon also rolls a die. But since he is concealed in the town, he will have a +1 modifier on the die. He also rolls a 5, which means that he remains hidden, because with the +1 modifier he rolls a 6, and therefore his number is higher than the reconnaissance platoon. On the other hand, he is positioned and he is moving, and therefore he will most likely see the moving reconnaissance platoon. Okay, a reconnaissance platoon can only see the adjacent hex like this. So even though he's got different optics on, he's not, because of the terrain, able to look further out. A reconnaissance platoon also have the ability to disengage if engaged during a reconnaissance mission. Should we have had a infantry company up here who was wanting to defend themselves, the reconnaissance platoon coming in, seeing the company, would be able to, if he had remaining movement points left, to disengage. All other units have to fight when engaged in combat. So this was our reconnaissance platoon. The next means we are looking at is the UAS ISR means, and there are different types of UAS. So in this case we'll have the tactical UAS, and there are different types of UAS also. They have different ranges, and some of them, if you have a nano UAS, also have a smaller area in which they can observe. A normal UAS can observe in a 7-hex cluster. So in this case, the UAS wants to have a named area of interest in this area, so it can look in the hex underneath them and in the 6 adjacent hexes also. What you do is you roll 1 die per hex to figure out whether he's seeing anything in that hex. And he has to roll a 4 or above to detect any units in that area. And that is done with by rolling for the one directly underneath the UAS first, and then the 12 o'clock going with the clock around to check every single one. Should the UAS want to spot an area, a named area of interest, where there is a enemy air defense within range, before you start rolling your die to check whether there is anything there, you have to defend yourself if the enemy chooses to fire at you. A air defense action is done by the air defense platoon rolling a die and the UAS rolling a die. The one with the highest die number wins. And in this case, if the air defense wins, the UAV is shot down and will not be able to look at any of the hexes. If the UAV wins, or it's a tie, the missile or the air defense platoon misses the target, and the UAV is able to look in all 7 hexes in the 7-hex cluster. So when employing UAVs, you always have a base station, a launch station, in this case the platoon over here, and it will fly in a direct line towards a named area of interest. The launch site is always revealed and put on the map for the enemy to engage in the next round should he choose to, and therefore you need to move it, the platoon after having launched. The UAV moves in a direct line back and forth. If you want to, you are able to spot while flying, and in that case you will have to roll a die for every hex you are crossing, and you will have to roll a 6 to detect anything underneath it, because you are moving. Good. That was UAVs. The numbers on the UAV indicate the size of the named area interest you can look in and the range of the UAV. The next one is EW. In this case, the RIC platoon has brought along an EW platoon. You will quickly find that the EW platoons are one of the most efficient or effective ways of finding enemy units on the map. In this case, the EW platoon wants to see if there's any emission from L-Black as such. And to check that, you go and get your EW cone and put it on your map with the tip of the cone on the EW unit, like this. And then you, you tilt it so that the cone describes the area in which you look. When looking, an EW platoon does not emit, and therefore he is not revealed on the map. You will roll a die, and depending on the die roll, you'll see different types of units. If you roll a 3 or above, you'll detect headquarters units and fires units on the map. If you roll a 4 or above, you'll detect all companies. If you roll 5 and above, you'll detect everything, including platoons also. Which means that if you roll 3, you'll only detect headquarters and fires units. And fires units are companies and above. That is mortar companies and artillery batteries, not single artillery platoons or mortar platoons. If you roll 4, you'll see both headquarters and fires units and all companies. And 5 and 6, you'll add all the small platoon elements on the board also. All these are placed on the map when discovered. Right, the next one is radar. Blue forces does not have radar as such, but red forces do. In this case, he's not chosen to have anyone on the map. Should he have chosen to have, let's say that this EW unit down here is not an EW, it is actually a radar. We will bring back the EW and radar cone and work it exactly the same way as if it was a EW. Only difference is that using a radar will reveal your position as you are actually emitting in the area. So in order to find anything, you will have to roll a 3 and above, and any units in that area will be detected. However, radar are masked by build-up areas and woods. So should there be any woods or cities in this area, they will mask any units in those cities or woods or behind them. And they will not be revealed on the map. The last ISR means we are going to discuss are the unmanned ground sensors. You see we have a ground sensor out here near the bridge, and it is very easy. Red has put out the sensor. He will, whenever a blue unit crosses the sensor, he will not see that it is what type of unit is crossing, but he will only see that a unit is crossing, and therefore a blank marker will be placed on the map. So recce units and UASs will be able to distinguish what kind of unit they are looking at, and whereas EW and radar will only detect that something is out there.